Hey, good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to another edition of the Bush Group Podcast. I'm Tim, and you're joined with myself and Rachel today, and we're so excited to have you guys on our second episode of the year. It is the 14th of January, 2022 today. So today we're going to talk to you guys about vacation property and short-term rentals. So that has been a big topic of conversation over the past couple of years. A lot of people, since COVID kind of started, have started flocking to these short-term rentals, and they've become extremely popular, especially up in our area of Maine, where we're so lake-driven and have a lot of the winter outdoor activities as well as the skiing areas, and our lakes are just very popular as well. So we wanted to do a segment today to kind of showcase what people are looking for and to give you guys some of our client feedback that we've heard, as well as some of the stuff we've gotten from our clients that have done short-term rentals and what's worked for them, what hasn't, and what their guests have really liked. So Rachel and I are kind of going to bounce back and forth today on that and just give you guys our perspective. And then before we do that, we want to jump in. Every time we do a podcast, we want to do a daily market update for you guys and kind of pick a couple different towns we're going to showcase. So today we're going to talk about Bangor and Freeport. So Rach picked Freeport, I picked Bangor. Those are two towns that we service. We're just going to give you a couple quick stats about the listings right now. So right now in Bangor, there are only 6 active listings to buy. So only 6 homes that are not in a pending or pending continue to show status. 11 homes in Bangor in a pending continue to show, and 33 in a pending status. So not a lot of active listings in Bangor at this time. Freeport has 7 active listings, 1 pending continue to show, and 6 in a pending status. So all this information was compiled around 11:40 this morning from the Maine Multiple Listing Service. So we just want you guys to know where we pull our information from every day when we give you guys stats. So Rachel, when we look at that, there's not a lot of listings out there right now, and it's definitely a time for sellers. If they're looking to sell, these are some hot communities right now that people have really been flocking to, and we've seen some great value increases over the year. And so if you guys are looking to list your house in Bangor, Freeport, now is the time. Low inventory, and a lot of buyers right now. So we'd be happy to field those calls. Next week we're going to talk about Hamden and Gorham on the podcast. So we're going to kind of showcase you guys those towns. So that's our market minute update today. We kind of want to jump into the vacation rentals. But before we do, we just want to give a quick shout out. So we are realtors in the state of Maine at Next Home Experience. Next Home is a national franchise, and we are out of our Bangor office, and Rachel works out of Portland, and we are members of the Bush Group. So we are a team out of the Bangor office under Next Home Experience. So we're extremely excited to have everyone on today. Rach, thanks for jumping on again with us, and
Yes.
really excited to talk about vacation rentals with you today.
Yeah, no. Same here. So, I mean, as we both know, last year was kind of my first full year in real estate. But I also had a couple clients as well that kind of taught me the ways of their short-term rentals. I had a couple, actually 3 investors that come to mind that I touched base with last year, and I'm still working with them this year to still grow their portfolios here in the Southern Maine market. For their Airbnbs, but and they've been doing great so far. So
I absolutely love the one down in Old Orchard Beach. They did an amazing job with that short-term rental, and I think one of the things we want to talk today about is having a theme when you're going to be a short-term rental, and I think they did a great job of picking a theme and sticking to it. Just giving your clients a destination that they're going to go to. It's more than just renting when you're renting short-term rental. I feel like it's part of the experience. You know, when you go to these large hotels, they give you an experience when you're there, and the short-term rentals are very similar in that realm.
yeah, no, for sure. They when my clients did come up to Maine, of course, they've been vacationing in the Old Orchard Beach area since they were kids, and then now they've been bringing their kids too. So this was going to be their first Airbnb or short-term rental. They listed on Airbnb and VRBO and HomeAway and things of that sort. But their first listing there, their first reno by themselves, so they definitely needed some guidance. Of course, I had some other investors that I was able to kind of point them in the direction of so that they could chat, who were also in the Old Orchard Beach area. The home that they did buy was, I think, a little under 1,100 square feet. Most definitely very run down, only 3 season, and it had been on the market for a little over 200 days to my knowledge.
Would be a long
So
time in the
something that
community for sure.
it really was. So really nothing that nobody was willing to touch. I took them for a showing, and the wife, she looked at it and she said, "This is perfect. I have a vision. This is exactly what I want." And we went under contract that night. Soon after we closed, and of course I checked in on them, and they said that they were loving it, that they were having a really great time. I didn't know what work they had done until they had finally sent me the completed photos. And I shared on my Facebook, and I'll most definitely share them again. But they had completely gutted the entire place out, done the theme, which they call the Salty Flamingo.
Love that.
And they were not only booked out the entire last summer, but they're also booking out this summer and the following summer as well. So, you know, Old Orchard Beach, although it does seem more of a seasonal type deal, it is nice because in the winter as well, they get a bunch of traveling nurses and things of that sort. So they're really making a good profit stream here with that.
That's been an interesting one. I'm glad you brought that up. Traveling nurses have been an interesting revenue stream that I'm hearing people do with short-term rentals, that they're switching over in some of those off seasons. They're finding locations near hospitals to where they can get those traveling nurses, and that's been an interesting one that we've looked at over the last year, and I'm hearing a lot of people have success with that. So I'm glad you brought that up. You know, obviously location is what we focus on in real estate. You know, it's one of our top three things whenever we're looking at a property. But for short-term rentals, it's what you have to factor in, because in Maine you've got 4 seasons here. So if you're looking for that beach rental, you've really only got that 3 months to do the beach rental. And that's why I think the lakes have been very popular, because in the wintertime you've got the seasonal that you can do with, you know, seasonal fishing in the fall, some hunting in different areas, and then in the spring you can get some of that seasonal fishing as well. But in the winter you can really do solid business with snowmobiling, and ice fishing is one of the most popular things to do in Maine in the wintertime. And I'll tell you what, I saw a definite revenue stream for some individuals up in the northern Maine region that did the short-term rentals up there, because it's such a destination for people to go to in the wintertime. And another place in Maine, we've got some great ski resorts. So anything near a ski resort is going to attract definitely some people with out of state that are coming up to take their kids skiing. And you know, I see families go skiing in the winter, and it's just really fun, you know, when you're going to travel and do different stuff like that. Really enjoy that. We went skiing last week actually, and just seeing everyone out there, it was funny. You know, we took our daughter, we have a 3-year-old daughter, and you know, she was out there with all the other kids going skiing, and just seeing all, like, how young they get started. There's a lot done around there. So people definitely flock to that type of rental, I think, and that's something that we look for when we're going to rent. So another thing I think that gets overshadowed a little bit, that people really need to take a look at when they're looking at some of these short-term rentals and where they're going to be, is the town itself. So there could be some town codes and local codes, and maybe HOA rules, condo associations that you've got to abide by. And when you're choosing the right short-term rental property, you've got to make sure that you're choosing something that's actually going to let you rent short-term. So there are some that are long-term only that you definitely want to know ahead of time, because if you buy the wrong property and you can't rent it out, it may not be as profitable as a long-term business venture as it is short-term. There's definitely a stream of revenue there that you can differentiate between. So I think that's something. Have you seen that down your way, Rachel, that there's a lot of places that actually don't do short-term rentals?
Yeah, to be very honest with you, it tends to flow more with condos, townhomes, and things of that sort, you know, stuff with homeowners associations. And so a lot of my clients will go in and will find a place that they do love. But unfortunately, it is a short-term rental, but it's only short-term within a month span. And sometimes it'll even be 2 weeks. So one of my investors here, we actually were looking at a beach home in York late last year. And it was perfect, it was great, but they had a 2-week minimum on those short-term stays, which really wasn't what he was looking for. Most of his stays,
minimums, I think, a lot of 1
week. You know, he can really get away with those 1 week minimums, but a lot of the times these people are here for like long weekends, or they may even be here for a week, but finding those stays that are sometimes over a week is really hard to find. So unfortunately, that one was out of the mix. But
And that's something.
most definitely would be great for someone who wanted to cater for those longer stays.
And that's
Yeah,
something definitely to keep in mind for like the seasonal places, like you say. When in the wintertime, I think we see, when my family and I had one, um, it was me, my father, my mother, my brother-in-law, my sister, and everyone. We were all kind of in on it. It was a nice family one. Everyone did it together, and we had a great time with it. But one of the things we noticed was in the winter, it was shorter stays. People did not want to come up for the
yeah,
weeks like they were in the summertime. So that's
yeah,
definitely something to keep in mind if you're going to be in a place that's looking for that um, week-long
yeah,
rental in the wintertime. If it's one of those places, you may not get the full weeks for what people are looking
yeah,
for. And one of the things we talked about earlier is the theme. I think a theme is the most important part of the rental. Make it fun.
yeah,
When someone comes to these short-term rentals, they want to come for the experience. The games, the kayaks, the canoes at the lake. Um, one of the places that I saw rented up on Quebec, I talked to a good friend of mine and his wife, and they actually created a s'mores bag that they left for every single person that rented. So they had like this s'mores goodie bag as part of their welcome package. So they just got to make some s'mores. So I think just standing out, making your guests feel like you really care, is it definitely goes a long way when you're doing these vacation rentals, short-term rentals, and being the local expert in the community too. You've got people coming from out of state that are going to be staying with you, making sure that they
yeah,
know, hey, where's the best place to get pizza? I, I think everyone knows a good pizza place. Where's the sandwich shop? Where can we order takeout from? Where can we take the kids to? Are there any mountains around? Can we go hiking?
it is. Yeah,
Is there stuff for kids in that town? People want to know those type of things because there are some places that are more geared towards adult only, and I think if they don't know that ahead of time, that you know could impact that
yeah.
vacation rental in the future.
Yep. No, I mean, some of the best Airbnbs I think I've ever stayed at. One, the host was super responsive, and I think that is key. Having all of those good reviews and also having great feedback on all of these websites that you do post your short term rentals
Yeah.
is key as well. Having the themes and the photos and having something that'll really draw the type of clientele in that you want there is most definitely first priority. But some of the best ones that I've stayed at, they'll have booklets when you first walk in, and it kind of lays out the land of what's local and what they recommend, who to get in contact with if you need something. So making everything very accessible and at people's fingertips and creating like a home away from home is key there.
I think that's awesome. Yeah, if you don't have to leave to go to the store to bring pots and pans and different stuff, that's going to change
Yes.
the way. One thing I found that I'm told a lot of short-term rental owners don't love, but it's one of the best things we have in Maine. You got to make sure you have it, and this is one of my must-haves. You got to have a lobster pot. Make sure we can order that lobster. You're coming up to Maine in the summertime. We want to have some lobster. People want lobster. They want those clams. They want to have the good summer bakes that they're going to have out there. So I'd say, make sure, I know it can be a messy thing, but if you provide the right materials, I think that's one thing people definitely really search for. And I know my friends that do short-term rentals, they try and steer away from it because it is so messy. And, if you don't know what you're doing, it can be dangerous. So just make sure, and there's also some good seafood stores around that will actually box them up, do the whole cook ready to go. But I think that's a cool one. We've got such the coastal theme here in Maine, and a lot of people do come up for some of that seafood. I think that's a really cool
Yep.
thing to incorporate. But um,
Yep.
I think the biggest thing we touched on today is just do your research before you go into the vacation rentals. There's a lot to think about. It's not just about the property, it's about the surrounding area. It's about what can that area actually draw and bring in for you. There's a lot of spots in Maine that offer different short-term rental availability and vacation spots. But one of the things I think Rachel and I are extremely excited to do on the segment, we'd like to hear back from you guys. So I think the vacation rental is probably one we're going to do 3 or 4, even 5 times throughout this year. And 'cause it's just such a popular item to talk about. We'd like to know where are some spots in the country you guys are interested in possibly investing in some different vacation rentals. And we'd like to bring some of our referral partners and other realtors from other states and give a shout out to one of my buddies down in Florida. We'd love to have him on, Greg Karen. Greg Karen's a realtor down in the Miami area, and I'm always talking to Greg about different stuff he's doing. So Greg, if you're watching today, give you a little shout out. We'd love to have you on the podcast and talk to you. And And Trent is a buddy of mine down in South Carolina. He's expressed some interest about talking to us about some different stuff in those areas. So we've got a lot of professionals that would love to come on and talk to you guys about different vacation spots around the country. So kind of shoot us an email with what you guys are thinking, and we'd love to incorporate those people on a podcast. And maybe we'll have one where we bring in 3 different people from 3 different states, and we'll all just kind of merge and talk. I think that'd be fun.
Perfect. Sounds good.
Well, awesome. Well, I think what are we thinking our next podcast date's going to be, Rachel? I think we're looking for Monday or Tuesday next week.
Monday or Tuesday next week. That sounds great.
Awesome. So
Yep.
we will be back to you guys next week. If you guys have any content that you are interested in, please don't hesitate to reach out. You can reach us at bushgroup207@gmail.com. And we're always here for any questions that you guys may have. And we hope you guys enjoyed this content today, and we look forward to collaborating with you guys in the future. And like I said, any questions, reach out. You've got our links to Facebook, Instagram, and our YouTube channel as well. So feel free, drop some comments, let us know, and we can't wait to talk to you guys soon.
Bye, guys. Thank you.
Thanks, Rach. Have a great day.